Namaste. I am Dr. Anna Nina George, Associate Professor, GVM's Dr. Dada Vedic College of Education, Ponda, Goa. As I always believed that environment cannot be taught from textbooks, lectures and videos. This is a presentation of my project, Monsoon Biodiversity of Goa, Cultivated and Wild and the Indigenous Farming Practices, a video and photo documentary. On a lazy, rainy morning, a casual interaction with Nikita, a vegetable vendor in Ponda, from whom I regularly buy vegetables. I discovered she not only knew the names of the vegetables, but she grew them too. She had learned cultivation of the vegetables from her father, what we call as indigenous knowledge or traditional knowledge. I found that her knowledge is more useful to her to connect to her environment and make a livelihood too. Nikita's knowledge helped me to connect with the rich biodiversity in my immediate surroundings. Generally, Goa is popular for its beach, party, and a holiday destination. Usually, one wouldn't associate Goa with biodiversity, agriculture, or forest. Goa, being within the Western Ghats, has very rich biodiversity. The 6 wildlife sanctuaries, 1 national park in a small state like Goa bears witness to the rich biodiversity found in Goa. Monsoon in Goa is a very special time. With 4 months of monsoon from the June to September, the vegetables which are grown during the monsoon are exclusively grown only during the monsoon. Cucumbers, snake gourds, bottle gourds, mashmelon, leafy vegetables. Goa also has a large variety of wild vegetables called ran bhaji. Ran in Konkani means forest, and all of them spring up only during the monsoon. They are indigenous, nutritive, and most of them have very high medicinal values. The experience of going to the farms, seeing the plants on which the vegetables grow, was an exciting thing. The farms, they look so elegant, organized like a garden. It is amazing to see the plants of cucumbers, bitter gourd, and also does the Zadkanaga field look really beautiful. Seeing the farmers work in the field, in the sun and the rain is totally unforgettable. The most mesmerizing part of this project was interacting and interviewing the farmers across Goa. Sushila from Darbandura. What an exciting character. Explaining about propagation of Kalealu, Colocasia, with intricate details was really intriguing for me. Rama Bodekar, his vociferous explanation about growing of tubers in Sattari was equally captivating. During the interview with Rama Paik at Shivni in a harvested rice field, he just picks up a weed from the field and he goes on to explain that it is butao, which is used in stored grains to protect the stored grains, which are kept in mudi, the containers made of hay. Kamlavati at Kepe had an enchanting voice, which was a surprise for me. She picks up 3 wild plants, Niriya Bhaji, Barmato, and Padaval, from the field as we are walking, and gives me details about their uses for the cattle and humans. In a difficult to access place called Vavurla, I meet Premavati, a great reservoir of traditional recipes of wild vegetables. She had arranged a huge exhibition of vegetables, both wild and cultivated, for me. I had one of a kind of experience to document large number of monsoon vegetables in Lakshman Gaonkar's backyard farm at Jeda, Kankon. I had the rare opportunity to see perfectly ripe chibur, mashmelon, on the plant itself. An engineer turned agriculturist of Kolme Kurti, Balkrishna Kurdi. He has devoted himself to his ancestral occupation of agriculture. He explained traditional method of irrigation and compared it with the sprinkler system. He told me about kalle, an implement made up of cashew tree wood, used to be used for watering the plants. Using the kalle to water the plants helped conserve water. A dedicated motivator farmer, Xavier Gracious, an ardent promoter of farmers of Adasine, he proudly showed me Ode, a traditional water source in the fields. It looks like a pond for irrigating the farms manually using mud pots. Self-motivated, passionate farmer of Pane Shiridao, Ghanshyam, explains at length about Sat Shire Bhene, okra with 7 ridges. The much sought after okra, the pride of Pane Shiridao, each of them sharing vivid memories of the robust, sustainable agricultural practices which they found in their childhood, which they nurtured through their adulthood, was a rare privilege. At Nanoda Valpai, I met Shashikala. She was recollecting, reminiscing the bygone era with a bit of melancholy. She said in the bygone years, the whole village used to grow nashne, finger millets, ragi. Now we buy nashne, not grow. In certain places of Sattari, Valpai, Darbandura, for last several years, people have kept fields barren because of the problems posed by the wild animals. Robust farming community staring at their empty fields. Indian gaur, wild boars, porcupine, peafowl, rodents, destroying their huge fencing, breaking the nets. This was unheard of in their childhood. Now it is a menace, incurring huge loss and forcing one's robust agriculture community to almost give up. But the question is, why these wild animals became a menace now? Is it due to their habitat loss? The robust Bendurde women farmers have made their group a model of women empowerment and Bendurde an example of sustainable village by growing traditional vegetables, catering and selling homemade products. While Vanita and Lakshmi at Verle have dared to grow strawberries successfully in the hot, humid climate of Goa. Being in Harman, a remote part of Goa, didn't deter Sita and Sampada in going for the tissue culture for banana cultivation. Chandan Velip is a glimmer of hope from Veling Ponda. A very, very young chemistry graduate has plunged into his ancestral farming practices and blends it with the modern knowledge of farming to keep the traditional farming practices alive. Datta Naik and Suryakant Gaonkar are two personalities I had been specifically suggested to meet. Datta in particular for his distinct talent for matoli making and Suryakant for his comprehensive knowledge about wild vegetables and plants. Just about 1 week before Ganesh Chaturthi, you will see all the markets full of monsoon vegetables. The Matoli Bazaar looks like an exhibition of monsoon biodiversity, both wild and cultivated. Matoli is the most essential part of Ganesh Chaturthi. It's like a canopy in front of the Ganesha idol, variety of monsoon vegetables, flowers, fruits, both wild and cultivated. I witnessed Ganesh Chaturthi at Lakshman Gaonkar's house in Yeda in Kankon, a remote village of Goa. The ideas that evolved from this project. Conservation of biodiversity is not only about the seeds and the plants, but it is also about the conservation of specific locations in Goa in which certain vegetables have evolved to be endemic. Traditional knowledge need not only to be preserved, but it also needs to be documented and shared among new generation. We need to rethink about the current environment conservation measures. My salutations to the vigor, ingenuity and resilience of our farmers. Ami shiklelena, meaning we are not educated. This was the common statement made by the farmers with whom I interacted. I wonder why such knowledgeable farmers have such false notion. What it means to be educated? Does it mean that educated should be only to read and write? Nelson Mandela says, and I quote, "Our rich and varied heritage has profound power to help build our nation," unquote.